Howdy boys, look at this rapid fire video. Actually, I shouldn't say that before I upload them, because who knows how long it's going to take for me to figure out thumbnails again, you know? This is round 4 of the recent tournament. I was up against Dwarvenholds again. This is a really bad matchup for a few reasons that I didn't really appreciate before the game. Is this the right one? 30, 22. Yeah, where's his rune of readiness? It's on him. I swear to God he had runes of readiness on his king as well. No, he just had it in the unit. Anyway, I'm playing my Chariot Beast Turd list. His list had a really killy king. A rune smith with rune of readiness is the most important thing. I don't even know if he used rune devouring. It's long enough ago that I don't remember. A BSB with really nothing important for the game. An engineer with rune of readiness, important. An anvil, 30 greybeards, 22 handgunners, 20 rangers with crossbows, 10 miners, 2 copters, an organ gun, and a cannon. So, the things that are dangerous here. Runes of readiness, really, really good. Just in general. It's not about going wide to deep. It's about doing things like going deep to wide when you want to maximize your attacks. And taking your king and placing him exactly like this really killy king, making sure that he's placed exactly where he wants to be. So in my first game of this tournament, you'll remember that one of the important things about beating the Dwarf Death Star was the fact that I got my my Shamanism Chariot in contact with his king, so it's all the king could fight, while having something in the flank so he couldn't reform. Basically, that sort of still applies, except now I need to get the flank. I don't have any option other than getting the flank, basically. I've got no other tricks that I can pull because he can do it immediately. Other than that, the thing that I have not appreciated is cannons with engineers. Where you go, cool, a monster is within 30 inches, I'm hitting you on a 2. And it's... Whew! Didn't appreciate that. I started off this game and I basically really stuffed up with something. I don't know. No, I must have won the roll for sides. And I think I didn't want to give my opponent the wall. But then what I did by giving him the wall, by giving him the top, was gave him this nice little corner to hang out in, which was a big mistake. Because it meant that he had basically one... I mean, both his flanks really well protected, with an army that massively outranges me. And I don't really know why I didn't think about that, but I didn't, and it was a big mistake. I also... It was what? Two tokens objective, and... I don't know which one was mine, but basically, I got to place my token first. After giving my opponent the corner for him to corner in, I put one of these really easy for him. Like, basically, this is the exact game that he wants. He gets to hang out in his corner, and he gets these 2 objectives really close to that corner that he's hanging out in. So, we started off the game, and I just completely bottled it, basically. But, I mean, shit happens, so... how did this one go? I don't have many pitches, and it's not a terrific game, if I'm honest. So I was basically staying out of range of the organ gun with most things. The plan here was I need to get... one, it's sort of like the Jabberwock was threatening ranges, maybe. But the plan was I need to get... something threatening the flank. Sitting here would be nice. Because as I discussed, if I can get front and flank, that makes it a lot easier for me to deal with that king. Shamanism was doing fuck all against these war machines because I wasn't getting Totem Beast through. He might have eaten it and then killed him, I don't know. But he's got these runes of revocation that he couldn't put on, particularly when we're not fighting in any combat. He can force through all these things that are pretty good and handy. And basically not much was happening. But on turn 1, where do we go next? Okay, so basically what happened on his turn 1 is his cannon shot my Jabberwock, killed it in one shot, panicked the giant, which just completely destroyed my plans over that flank. I think this is marching columns deployment as well, which is why I wasn't able to counter him as well as I could. Because really, if he dropped everything the way he did, really I'd like my 4 monsters on that side together. But anyway, I only had the 2, and that's just completely ruined it. And at this point, I was like, sort of recognized the mistakes that I'd made and the bad situation that I'd gotten myself in. Because without those monsters running down that flank, I don't have many ways that I can engage him. Because as soon as I go up into organ gun range, probably one of my Gore-Tax dies. The other one then maybe has a chance to kill the other one, but the problem is, he knows that these Greybeards now don't have to worry so much about my characters, because I've got nothing threatening the flank. His king will then be able to just sit there and go, I'm going to pick whichever one of you, probably your Beast Lord, and I'm just going to kill you, and then you're not going to have any output, and I'm going to break you. So, after my opponent's turn 1, I think I had already lost this game massively. Like, this was already a big loss, and I don't think there's anything I could really do to stop that. If I just moved away, it's like he's got 700 points. He might get some more points. 700? 600. Bit under 600 so far. He might get some more points. And he's going to win the objective. So, I tried to do things, and it didn't work out well. I didn't try yet. Because as I knew that if I pushed up, I'm just going to lose my Gore-Tax, and then I lost my nerve of just staying back, and I just went, you know what, I'm going to go try and actually do something, particularly because he started moving his organ gun up. So I moved out, I gave it a go, my Chariots are trying to zone, but realistically I don't think I can fight that block anyway. And he moved his king, I don't know if it's there now, but his king over into this block, which meant that my Gore-Tax couldn't fight them either. Because he's going to kill one in combat, in shooting, and then I can't charge those marksmen anymore because his king's going to move there and his king's going to kill my Gore-Tax. Which happened. I tried anyway, and the Gore-Tax died. And then I'm just sitting here going, I've got nothing. I've got no options, I've got no choices, and I can't fight anything. And while I think I know I underestimated how bad the matchup was, but I also just made those early mistakes that have put me in this really bad position. I don't think I lost anything else at the end of the game, because I sort of just saw the writing on the wall, knew my Chariots couldn't fight, and just decided to let him have it. No. Later in the game, things went a little bit wrong. I got a little bit unlucky on some movement spells that basically meant that this unit of Wildhorns that I could have gotten here, and drawn the objective, but I couldn't stop movements. So, I don't know, something happened. I think I threw enough dice that with Dwarf Magic, it's like if they use 2 dice and you throw 2 and you fail, it's not that unlucky. Or if they use 3 dice and you throw 3 and you fail, it's not that unlucky. So, not like extremely unlucky, but I think I got a little bit unlucky with that, which meant that he got movement spells, which meant that he could get to both objectives, and I still couldn't fight him. And I don't know how many of my Chariot characters I lost. I might not have lost any of them, to be honest. But I did end up having to fight his king, but his king fought my Soothsayer, which was a mistake, basically. I don't know if they died. In terms of, it all happened down here, basically, because he'd moved down to here, and I don't know if I charged him or he charged me. I probably charged him. But yeah, basically didn't go well. I definitely didn't get any points. I think off him, I got nothing. I might have gotten 1 copter, but I think I got no victory points. And he'd killed all my monsters. He'd killed at least this chaff. Like, maybe killed a character. Maybe even broke the... I don't think so. I don't think I lost these characters. And he won the objective. So I lost 19-1. Pretty sure it was 19-1. And it was just it's like playing 6 turns when on turn 1 you're like, oh, I've absolutely bottled this. Was so tough because I just didn't... it really felt basically the entire game like I didn't have anything I could do. As soon as I lost those monsters and I realized what had sort of gone down and what I'd given him with the deployment, I was like, I don't have an answer to any of the problems that he's putting on the board. Yeah, and the magic is so good, and the shooting is so good, and I gave him a corner to hide in, and it's just, yeah, I don't have much more to say, really. It was a bad matchup. It was poorly played. I think my opponent played it really well. Like, he just sort of, he saw the opportunity that I gave him, and then, I mean, there weren't many opportunities for him to make a mistake, but he saw the opportunity that I gave him, and he went, cool, I'm going to do that. And yeah, I mean, he probably knew from deployment, like, cool, I've won this game, it's just a matter of how much. Yeah, so, I don't know. It's going to be a really short video because I don't have much to say. I think in general, when I see those runes of readiness, I'm going to have to admit to myself that I probably won't be able to manufacture what I need to fight dwarves, so I probably will need to look at that in future and go, this is a bad matchup. Where I think it's, like, without the runes of readiness, I think it's potentially good, because even if I just combo charge with, like, I'm going to send my gargoyles in so that your king is engaged. So now, like, a Gortak against this unit could quite conceivably, in fact probably, take them down so that they only have 1 rank, and then 1 rank against 1 rank, I win, like, I break his steadfast. But with the rune of readiness, I can't do that. So it takes away so many of my tricks, or so many of my ways to get around the problems of the matchup, that I think if I see that there, it has to be, I just have to give it the respect that it deserves, basically. Honestly, I don't play dwarves much, but I have a dwarf army, so I list build a bit, and it's like my favorite item. There's so many tricks you can pull with it, and I don't see it much. So I think in this matchup, what my main problem was that I overestimated how well I could flank him, pretty much. And I made it hard on myself, but I think, realistically, even without the deployment the way it was, it probably would have been difficult regardless. I would have liked to be able to counter-deploy him, so that I could sort of weight one flank better than I did. But, yeah. One thing I do, like, I have taken away from playing against dwarves and playing against Empire a decent bit, is Shamanism is just such a garbage lore. Like, it's got Swarm of Insects, Chilling Howl, Totem Beast, basically 3 spells out of 6 dedicated to basically going like, I'm going to screw over gun lines. And it just can't do it. It's like your opponent has plans in place for a Totem Beast and probably tries to stop it. Chilling Howl, it's just the turn where they go like, oh, well, I'm just going to shoot your monsters who I was winning on 6s anyway. And Swarm of Insects is okay, I guess, but there's so many times when, because it's so swingy, like against dwarves, it's like, oh, maybe I only do 2 wounds, and you've saved them both at a 5+, and I get nothing. So the -1 to hit is like, yeah, that's sort of like I didn't kill you. Like I'm not expecting to kill a War Machine with 1 casting of it, but -1 to hit is like, cool, that's like part of the thing that I'm aiming for, but sometimes it doesn't even happen. It's worse against ID with a 4-up save. So I'd really like to get rid of it, but scarification on this boy at the front is really important to the resilience of this unit, so I don't know that I can. But, man, I do not like it. I don't think it does what you take it for, which is basically giving you the tools to address gun lines. Because I think its effect is really minimal a lot of the time. And I guess it's exacerbated against dwarves because they've got Rune of Revocation. They've got Runes of Devouring sometimes. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't like Shamanism. I have considered making that Shamanism guy an Evoc Master instead, sort of decreasing the defensiveness of the unit, but giving me better offensive buffs. And also snipes might be quite handy for, I guess, situations like this, where maybe I can snipe that king, sort of have that extra answer to this sort of situation. I'm not sure. And also maybe just sniping out champions is good when I'm charging my chariots in, because I can't be challenged out as easily. But that's one of my considerations that I'm thinking about. Because this report's been quite quick. Just me wallowing in sadness. The last game of the event, I got drawn against High Elves. I was quite looking forward to the matchup, to be honest. But my opponent didn't really want to deal with the time zone. And, you know, I'm not going to push him and make him play a game against me. So we just went 10-10, cool, let's go home. And that sort of was the case more and more towards the end of the tournament. I think people have basically just gotten to the point where they're not in lockdowns anymore, and these online events are a lot harder to organise across time zones because people will be like having... They might have an event on the weekend and be like, well, I can't play on the weekend, and we've got, you know, a 10-hour time difference, so we can't play at all on a weekday. But my team didn't do great. We took down Team USA, which was cool. That was round 2, actually. So my game was the last in the round, and we'd already won by that time, so it didn't actually end up mattering. But Team Texas beat Team USA, which was good. Nothing else really happened. I don't think we did well. I didn't do very well. I got, what, 20, 35, 42, 43... and then 53 with my 10-10. So 2 of those were agreed upon scores, but the one against Caps is sort of like, it was what the game ended up, so makes sense. The 10-10, obviously, just a complete handshake, but I'm pretty keen on that matchup, so I did at least get to above like an average of 10, which is always basically what I aim for, so still actually not disappointed in the outcome of the event, like from a personal level, and it was cool. Like my team's great, so it was fun hanging out and doing stuff with them. What have I got next? I have 2 games from a recent... It's not really an event. It was like a glorified games day. One of the guys in Sydney was trying to organise an event, but including me, only 5 people said yes. Which, I mean, I kind of didn't want to drive out. I think it was like an hour away. I wasn't actually driving. My friend was driving. But I kind of didn't want to go out there when there were only 4 people there. Or 4 other people to play. But I thought to myself, like, I would like to have events happening again, because they're not really happening in Sydney, because there's not much interest at the moment. So I basically felt I should rock up because, you know, 5 is better than 4. Maybe more people are like, yep, I'm actually going to make the effort to go to this one because otherwise people aren't going to run them. Like, I'm not trying to run an event because I can't. I don't want to chase people. I don't want to try and make people come. Like, if you don't want to play, then I'm not going to bother organising an event for you. So Lee's trying hard and he's doing well. He's got a great venue. Went out there, it's a great venue. And like really affordable, because I think Lee knows the people who like own the hall, so he gets a really good rate, and it's just a really good space. It's perfect for any size tournament that we're likely to get in Australia. That hall would be able to fit basically. So it was good, and hopefully if another one happens, we'll get a few more people. But it was a 3-game event. And 5 people, so someone had to have a bye, and I just basically took that for round 1 because I was on crutches, and I was like, I don't know how much I want to be standing up over a table. I'm happy to just play 2 games instead of 3. But I do have those 2 games that I will do reports on. I took Demons. And other than that, I've got no events in future that I'm going to. I'm playing another online event, a singles event, that is organised over the forums. And I've got 1 game of that done so far. I've got a 2nd game coming up, which is also a Beast Herd mirror. Yeah, that's what's happening. I'll get these 2 up at some point. When I say 2, I mean the previous video to this, which isn't up as I record, but theoretically, if you watch things in order, you would have already seen. I'll get these up, and at some point in future there'll be more videos. I don't know when. Alright, thanks guys.